All right, so welcome to episode 61 of the Grindhouse Podcast. I'm going to do that one more time, just because.
Introduce me last, just so I can plug.
Perfect, we'll do.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, so welcome to episode 61 of the Grindhouse Podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Cabrera, a.k.a. Steady Eddie. Across the screen from me is my homie, John Lee, a.k.a. JDM John. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to give a shout out to my own brand for once, OEM Plus LLC. Find us on Instagram. Also, our website is up, built by our lovely co-host Chris Martin over here in his design studio. The store is up. Everything's running nice and smooth. I just want to thank everybody for your ongoing support. Recently hit 1,000 followers. That's a major milestone in my eyes because I didn't think not even more than 5 of y'all would be interested in what I do. But yeah, thank you so much. And also thanks for having me back on Sidebars. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. I got my other homie with me, Chris Martin, a.k.a. Critta. How you doing?
Good. Before we get into today's episode, as always, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It definitely helps us out. Also, we have a ton of merch for sale on our website. Super easy to get to, grindhouse.store. Let's get into today's episode.
All right, cool. So what do we got first today, Critta?
All right. We'll go with some positive news. Bobby Shmurda is free. He's finally a free man. What do you think is next for him? Do you think he's dropping music? What's he doing?
I think he's going to eat a lot of oxtail.
Look, man. All right. All I know is
good for him.
2014 was a big year. Do y'all remember when his song came out?
I do. I definitely do.
I do, yeah.
That shit was everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody listened to it. It was almost as if there was no more cultural divide about the acceptance of the N-word. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the song. I think
it was that song was everywhere for sure.
Like Shmurda coming home.
Do you think he's gonna be able to like make a song like that again that is just like a bop?
I don't think we should do that. I think we should just let him cook and like be the artist that he knows to be and like create the music that he wants to. I think he had a lot of time to plan it out. And for us to think that he's going to drop a song that's going to be similar to what happened in 2014, I think that's kind of an unfair expectation. Like, I think he's going to have to kind of figure back out what's going to be hot. I mean, like, I don't know what a gap is of the music industry today, but I think Bobby's going to be talented enough and has a lot of people supporting him. I mean, like, he got picked up by like the Migos from jail, right? So, yeah. I mean, everything
they took
the
like
Migos,
a private jet and shit.
Word, like anything the Migos touches seems to take off. So, I mean, I would love to find out, what's next on his plans of artistry.
Is he like signed to the Migos now, or like what's? Because I know he was at Epic. I'm curious and see what he's.
From what I've heard, because that was kind of news to me too. Because I wasn't. I guess when Bobby was coming, like he was crazy, he was coming out and everything was crazy. I wasn't really following his career that closely. I just knew that was a crazy song. But I guess that him and the Migos are kind of cool since back then.
Which I didn't know that.
Yeah, I at first I was almost like, not to say it's like a kind of like a publicity stunt from the Migos. I was like, what the Migos? Like why is some like random Atlanta dudes picking up Bobby Shmurda, who's like, I would say, I mean, come on, King of New York. That right now is seeming kind of like the appropriate title based off of the reception of him going to jail and kind of like just doing it the way that this is honorable by the streets, and then the reception when he came out of jail from everyone, the love that everybody showed, how proud everybody was. You talking about the Migos picking him up, taking him on a private jet, his mom cooking him 50 pounds with of oxtail. That's love.
Yeah.
That's love. No, but like 6ix9ine didn't get any of that. What did 6ix9ine get? He got a couple of docs talking about how he's the worst person in the world.
Exactly. Didn't he try calling Bobby a rat or something like that?
Oh God.
I saw like a headline like that the other day, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
he's just grasping at the straws, man. I don't want
seriously.
to the Takashi pod because he can.
Yeah.
That,
We
but
always say this, that we're done talking about him, then he fucking does something stupid.
yeah, but like, yeah.
I was just gonna add to what you were saying, Ed. Bobby's the last I feel of like the persona of a New York rapper. You know what I mean? He has that swag, he has that energy, he has that like almost like a unforgivable he has no forgiveness of who he is. You know what I mean? The whole GS9 movement, you can't dance in a video like that if you're just anybody. You crazy? Like that video would never have made it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited for Bobby. I'm excited to see more of them dance moves, bro. He had moves. He had moves. I don't know why. It would just come out of nowhere. It was just like, oh, all of a sudden, like, this is the hot dance. You know, he had Rihanna doing the dance and everything. I definitely think he can, like, just to answer Critta's question from later. Obviously, it's not. I don't think that should be his main focus. Is trying to get another, like hot fire song or whatever like that. But like the dance moves, like his persona, his personality, the confidence, the dance moves, just the reputation that he's like even more so developed now. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's gonna have every opportunity to catch another one.
Definitely, and he clearly has the support behind him. So he'll go on and do great things.
Bobby dances the way we all feel like inside. You know what I mean? If we didn't have
like a job and shit, like try to be professional. Exactly.
Right. But yeah, welcome home, Bobby. Man, this is big. I can't wait to see what happens. And like you said, all the right things, honorable. You got love in the streets, and just hopefully he stays out here. I don't want to hear about the other side. The unfortunate part about being for real, like a real love, like hip hop persona, I feel, is that you get caught up in both the street culture and the art culture, right? And most of the time, you can't really have one without the other because like that's where the topics is pulled from, the whatever, right? So I'm worried more so like we waited all these years for him to come out, and then it's like that easy for him to just go right back. Right?
He had a little small sign of encouragement, though. I guess there was a video floating around where obviously he's celebrating the fact that it's his first day out, and somebody offered him a drink, and he turned it down. And he said something about like we can't be doing that, whatever. We on parole, whatever like that. I forgot what the line was, but essentially, it seemed like it was just a little hint of like he's more focused on sticking to the focus where the focus should be as opposed to like this other stuff. And hopefully that is the case because like I said, man, he has every opportunity to catch another one if he just puts
definitely.
Right.
Word. Do you have something else you want to add, John?
I was gonna say, do you guys know how long he was in for? It wasn't 7 years though, right? It was like
I thought it was 7 years. Yeah, I wanted to say it was 7 years, but it's 6 years maybe.
At least half a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
little
time.
Too long,
Yeah. Half a decade. I mean, 2 years is too long, like.
Yeah, exactly.
They're more than 5, man. Shout out to anybody out there who's possibly listening to us who's locked up, man. Keep your head up. Because that shit ain't easy. But congratulations to Bobby for getting out, and for we get to see the differences between somebody like Bobby and somebody like Tekashi, and hopefully that like seeing people seeing that and seeing like how things should be done as opposed to being skeevy and just everything that you don't want to be in the way Tekashi is like I feel like having that positive way and showing that I think is important. So shout out to Bobby Shmurda.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. So Kim K finally filed for divorce of Kanye West after 7 years. Obviously, none of us are surprised at this point. I feel like Kanye has been with his manic tweeting and whatnot. I feel like we've been going down this road. So what do you guys think about it?
I'm trying to find how long. Okay, so Kardashian began dating rapper Kanye in April 2012, and they broke up. What, I guess 2 weeks ago, whatever like that, which is 2021. Was that 8 9 years? I was gonna say I was trying to like trying to put a positive spin on things because I feel like divorce talk is always a shitty fucking conversation. And I'm of the belief, honestly, like I never believe that anything's permanent like that, and I feel like that's why the idea of marriage is always like a kind of like a weird one because I feel like that's more of a societal thing. I'm always of the belief, and I really do feel this way, and I feel like I'm gonna try to, especially with any relationship that I'm in, see it this way. Like I believe in runs. You got to look at relationships you have with people as a run. Like Kanye and Kim, they were together, for 8 9 years, and they along the way, Kanye absolutely became a better man because of Kim. You can say what you want about Kim, her and Ray J, blah, blah, blah. People can say what they want, but I think Kim is probably the linchpin in what made Kanye like a little bit more. I mean, it's hard to say that also because he's kind of lost his shit the past few years. I don't think it's because of Kim. I actually think Kim was the one trying to hold him down, and he's just a little too hard to hold down. And obviously, somebody who suffers from mental health, that shit gets complicated. I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about the way Kim handled this, and I feel like I'm not surprised that this happened. We've talked about this before, but they had a run 8 9 years together. They had some kids. I'm sure, obviously, there's been a lot of love there, and that love came to an end, and now it's time to go their separate ways. So hopefully, it's amicable, and both parties are okay with the separation.
Yeah, I think it came out that that's what it was. Like they're both like fine with it. So I mean, I'm just curious on like that divorce the money shit's probably gonna be kind of messy and whatnot. So
well, sorry, John, go ahead.
Go.
I was going to say, from the money perspective, they're both successful enough where I bet that there's like a lot of red tape that was already like laid down before they even got down to this point.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. If Kim didn't have like a motherfucking reality show popping and didn't have that, was it makeup brand or whatever like that, and if she didn't have that shit popping where she's getting hers, absolutely she's taking half of Kanye's. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like I'm not trying to be sexist and like that, but like, come on, Kim. The Kardashians have a formula of success, and that involves fucking success. You know what I'm saying? So like, if her shit didn't pop the way it's popping, and even now, who's to say? But like, if her shit didn't pop the way it's popping, where she's got her own millions in the bank, like I would think that she's trying to get half of Kanye's. But right now,
I mean, the thing about Kanye too is his sneaker brand alone is just worth like $1 billion. So it's like, yeah, he's worth.
Mad as much to Kim right now, and I feel like I don't know. I don't really have much bad to say about Kim lately. I've kind of been fucking with what she's been doing, to be honest with you. Like the whole like she's trying to take after her father. Trying to be a lawyer, going to school for that. And she's obviously tried to get. She's released some people. She's helped pardon some people through the Trump administration. Pardon some people. From the jail system who should have been pardoned a long time ago. So like, I respect what she's doing, and I feel like Kanye at this point, it's hard to respect like how he does things, and so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why they're getting divorced. Did they say that at all? It was just like they're tired of each other. What was the case?
Kanye's a pain in the fucking ass.
Well, Kanye would like tweet about her and like
he's a man child. That's
it's just like he would tweet about the family.
But like, I think beyond that, I think there's a lot of people in this world that suffer from mental health. Kanye just has a lot more power than they do, and so like, and he's also let's not like, he's a narcissist as well. Like he has a mental health issue. He's bipolar. There's a lot of people in this world that's like that. Kanye just has a bigger voice, and he has a larger ego, and so I'm sure as somebody significant other to deal with that, especially when this person is having a manic episode, that ego is probably, whether or not he's having a manic episode, that ego is probably still going to be there to try to stop you from helping. So I'm just going to go with, he was probably the divorce is not adultery or whatever the fuck they say. It's fucking, Kanye's a huge asshole.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember reading a little while back, and I'm not an avid Kanye and Kim Kardashian keeper upper, but I remember reading about how when he started being a lot more religious, he was trying to like dictate what she wore and all these things, and try to cultivate like this like image of their family and things like that. And I could imagine that puts a toll on Kim, especially since like she doesn't come off to me as somebody who's like super religious either. So I could see like maybe they just kind of started growing apart, because I think when they met, it was kind of messy as it is. Like Kanye was like basically talking about how he would be sleeping with somebody else but thinking of Kim, and I'm pretty sure that was the situation. And so
I didn't even
right
think
now,
about that part.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Like maybe they just came together during a weird time in their lives where they were both kind of like into that weird attention seeking type form.
I 100% believe Kanye was just beating off to the Ray J Kim Kardashian sex tape like over and over again, and it was just like that's gonna one day.
Remember the Ray J thing, that song or whatever, I Hit It First.
Yeah, that yeah, Ray J is like, I think
Goddamn.
Ray J is King Petty. I think like there should be a rap list of like pettiest rappers or like pettiest people. Ray J is up there, man.
I mean, that was something.
The real problem here, I mean, the real thing that we hope is that the kids work out, well, and things don't really get all crazy. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a Kardashian, and they have a history of destroying men. So yeah, it sucks.
All right. Well, enough about that. Let's go. Let's talk about Benzino versus daughter, coileray. I think that's how you say.
Have all the toxic relationships.
Let's get through all the toxic relationship shit for sure.
So this one is a very I like this because this is also seemingly like we've backed into like a Boston topic without like trying to back into a Boston topic, because like both Benzino is like, and at this point that's a stain to say like he's a black eye in Boston hip hop right now. I would say like I love the source, like what that was.
Yeah.
I think Benzino the person, especially like just him, not the lack of growth as a person, and he's like hitting his 60s now, it seems like. I don't know how old he is, but he's old, and he's still acting like a hot-headed 18-year-old, like
a young boy.
No, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's a black stain on Boston music right now, because Boston is doing so much good things that people people still talk about like Benzino being from Boston when I say like, oh, Boston hip hop is crazy. Oh yeah, Benzino, like come on, man, really? Benzino? That's
like that's who you're gonna
mention? But like, so this specific story, just to get into this story, rehash from what happened a few months back. Benzino out here wilding, can never keep Eminem's name out his fucking mouth for as long as he like that name will never like not take hold in his mouth. Like he can't not say Eminem's name.
Help himself. He can't help himself.
It's just like like that's the thing he thinks about when he wakes up in the morning. He's like Eminem. That's the first thing he thinks about. So he was getting at M. Through M, he got at Royce because Royce said a few things, and then they were going back and forth.
Yep.
And then Royce had that rebuttal talking about like taking care of his daughter, have her swing in the playground or something like that. Like just some like deep like dig that like only somebody like Royce can like really kind of like, because Benzino's gonna go for that alpha male diss, that like you're a bitch, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
Beat you up. Is gonna go for the intelligent undercutting, get to the cut, like really put salt on that wound. That's the kind of like trash talker that Royce is, and of course he won that. Flash forward to what happened recently. I'm trying to find it now. Oh yeah, I got it here. So Koi, she posted this as of this podcast. She posted this like today, like a few hours ago. I never said.
Share your screen.
Oh yeah, I should probably do that. That's a good thing. Good call. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because it's just gonna take too much time. I'm just gonna read it. Never said I grew up poor. I said we lost everything. So I guess like, oh, I'm sorry. Wait. There's more. Uh, can't believe this nigga. In another tweet. Never said I grew up poor. I said we lost everything. Until this day is all about money. Just wanted a father, and you was never that. Anybody in the fam can prove it. And then next post, numb to the pain. Next post, forgive me for stepping out of character. I thought I prepared myself for this moment, but I'm still not ready. I'm still angry. Don't hold grudges. Let this miserable people be miserable and love from a distance. That was a test. I feel like I failed by responding. Not everything needs a response. It's cool. I'm learning. Always room for growth. Um,
Oh God.
she said something about him saying, "I wish he was a boy."
Wait, he said that to her?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what kind of prompted all those responses that I just read. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it seems like a very daddy issues kind of topic to talk about. I mean, I feel bad because I 100%. It's easy to believe, and this is of Benzino's own doing, based off of the reputation he's created for himself. It's easy to believe that he's not the greatest of dads. I'm sorry, like it's, your daughter.
Yeah, I mean,
Your daughter's on Twitter saying that. I mean, I'm gonna believe her.
well, when it's coming straight from the source, it's kind of like, all right, well, like who do you believe here? I mean, she's clearly like
allegations. That's straight from the source. That's your daughter, bro. She's telling you that you're your father. And
I'm gonna be for real. Yeah, I'm gonna be for real. I don't know nothing about Benzino other than like some things I've read on the articles on the news that like.
You never listen to Rock Party, bro?
Probably not. Probably not. But no, we're not going through my rap.
We're gonna go through the whole discography.
I see booty. You ain't never listened to Pop.
He is 55 years old and talking about how he wants to box Royce the 5'9" and Eminem at the same time. I didn't even know who Benzino was, and then I remember reading that headline and thinking this guy's out of his fucking mind. So I guess I don't really blame her for being like, yo, kind of wish I had a father, not this weirdo.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that sucks. I mean, but I guess like when you're famous, you put anything out there, you guys end up, just everything just gets viral, right? So maybe this is another situation where I don't think it's that it was uncalled for her to not respond to her father, but rather, maybe that dude doesn't listen. He is on Love and Hip Hop, and people who are on Love and Hip Hop tend to like to put their drama out in there into the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blueprint of like, the reality TV, like amplifying, like bullshit. So I don't know. I mean, just him, like, like getting back to like the, him trying to fucking box fucking Eminem. It's like, you're just trying to get fucking headlines, bro. Like that's all that is. Like, you're just trying to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping I don't get boxed by him.
Yeah, saying for real, like Benzino, don't challenge all of us.
Who else to tell us that story about him like shit talking Benzino on, without even adding him? He was just shit talking Benzino.
Yeah,
I guess Benzino was just searching through like his mentions and trying to see like who's talking shit.
Who's saying it, yeah.
Right. So yes, there's an off chance that Benzino is somehow listening to this.
Yo, Benzino, if there's one person you should go at, it's Edwin.
I can take a punch.
We don't live in Boston.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man.
Benzino is one of the people of the many running lists of people who I don't really understand why they're still relevant in conversation.
His booty was a banger, bro.
You still on that?
Edwin's a low-key Benzino fan. Like
Edwin's mad offended right now. He's like, yo.
5 mics.
5 of them? God, that's a lot of mics, though.
He gave him 5
mics.
on the Source for a trash ass album.
When was it?
I'm serious.
Huh?
He gave himself 5 mics. You remember the Source?
Yeah. But when was this? In comparison to what albums that came out during that time?
I don't want to get into it that deep. I just want to tell you he gave himself 5 mics, which is supposed to be the creme de la creme for a trash album he made while owning the Source magazine. That was
so like a 10 out of 10 right there. You know,
of the end or the end of the Source magazine. But anyway, continue.
I've got nothing else to say about this.
Man, I don't even know who the fuck Benzino is. So.
He's gonna try to box me and John next. So
you said all we had to say about Benzino. Let's move on to the next topic.
All right. enough of Benzino.
Please.
All right. Let's talk about Edwin recently talked to me about this, but you know, I think it's a really cool idea. NFTs in music. Obviously Edwin is our resident cryptocurrency expert, so I'll leave it to him to explain what an NFT is.
I'll try to do it quick and I'll try to be fairly brief. I'll warn you, I'm not the expert that Crit is saying I am.
No, you're the fucking expert. You're the expert.
I'm definitely
the expert. Like,
I'm definitely interested in the cryptocurrency realm. I've been looking at that for a long time, not just because it's, you know, where people making millions of dollars, but all the technology behind it, I really do think can help the music industry. Main reason being is like, there's these things in called smart contracts in ecosystems like Ethereum and Cardano. There's cryptocurrencies ran on a blockchain. I don't want to explain the whole cryptocurrency thing. I don't want to start there. I'll just say this: cryptocurrency is really kind of created from a blockchain, which allows a bunch of users throughout the world to be able to verify information, encrypted information, which allows information to be essentially decentralized as opposed to it being coming from one main source that controls everything. It's decentralized, so everybody has a part in this ecosystem that allows governance to happen, right? And so when we're talking about NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, that's what NFT stands for. What that is pretty much a contract that is created, which is we're calling it like a smart contract is created. A smart contract, what it is a contract that is verified through the blockchain. So let's say, for example, I create a contract for a piece of music that I'm making, and this is all theoretical right now. I'm sure there's actual examples on it. There's actually a Rolling Stone article on it if you guys want to read more, that I think they did a pretty good job of explaining this and the potential use case of it. But essentially, like these NFTs with these smart contracts, let's say, for example, I put out an album through the Ethereum network. Maybe there's an app for musicians where you could put your album out and have it be through an NFT. So the non-fungible token is like a token that is like, imagine buying like a signed Babe Ruth baseball card or something, right? Or a signed Babe Ruth baseball. And when you buy that, typically, I'm not sure if you ever bought a collector's item, typically there's some sort of like signed paper of authentication. Mm-hmm. NFTs are essentially that paper of authentication, but digital. And it can't be, you can probably forge that little piece of authenticated paper. You can't do the same thing with an NFT. So it's encrypted. It's almost like, using that encryption, like to verify that something is real, or something is not copied, something isn't stolen, something isn't pirated. So it solves that issue of piracy, of reselling of fakes, so on and so forth. What it also does with these smart contracts through these NFTs is creates a whole economy that wouldn't be created if you weren't able to track sales digitally through an NFT. So, for example, let's say I put out an album. We put out the Grindhouse, album or something like that, and we sell the album to somebody who buys it, and they then take it. It's a great album. They listen to it, and then they're like, "Okay, I'm going to sell it." and they sell it to somebody else, probably for a little less money because it's used or whatever like that, but they sell it to somebody else. Typically in real life, we don't see the money that they made from selling what we sold to them. You know, they sold it, they get the money, that's that. We sold it to the first person, they enjoyed it, we got their money, but after that, we don't see any more money. What NFTs could do is these smart contracts, when we sell a product, a digital product, like, you know, an album or something like that, when we sell a product to somebody, yes, we're making that first transaction, but should they then turn around and then sell that to somebody else, that it's written, we can write it in the contract that any resale that's created from the original sale, be a portion of that be given back to the original creator. So now we can actually track resale of certain things and make money off those resales, so that we're always making more money for our product than we would if it was just out in the world the way it is now. So there's an absolute use case, and you know, in terms of why that's important. I mean, people are getting, like, it's for the music business, artists have been getting fucked left, right, down, center for years, since almost since the beginning of like the modern music industry, right? What it also does is these smart contracts, the payouts for certain contract status, we rely on people in suits, professionals that we hope are honest, to get the money that we've contractually agreed to. And people fudge the numbers, people can find loopholes, people can do certain things, and maybe just straight out lie to you, or just straight up cheat, or straight from skim from the top. You'll never fucking know until you do a lot more research. You find out, and you're, oh shit, fuck, why is $500,000 missing from so and so? Now with NFTs, with going towards a more blockchain decentralized economy, or ecosystem, there's no suit. There's no guy at the end of a long conference table with a fat contract and a big pen telling you to sign here, and that they have your best interest in mind. Um, it's smart contracts. It's contracts that you guys that the parties agreed to, that the system, this computer system based off of 1,000 networks of people across the world, is holding your contract, the one that you agreed to essentially, it's holding your contract up, and it's executing your contract. There's no middleman. There's no guy at the end of the table. There's just what you and the other party agreed to. And so you know you're going to be getting that money. You know what you're getting, and there's nobody to stop you from getting it, because it's executed through a system of computers, as opposed to actual human, you know, beings. Like, there's human beings behind the computers, but all they're doing is, putting the work into, like, having their computer be accessible to create these encrypted networks. So essentially, it's a trust. It's a new way of creating business and trust that takes the human era further away from that element. And I think that obviously has a huge use case in the music industry, as well as many other industries. But I absolutely see it as being a huge force in the music industry. I hope I did a somewhat decent job of kind of explaining that. Did that help kind of a little bit understand the world of crypto and NFT?
Well, I'm somewhat familiar, so I mean, that question is definitely more geared towards John, but I think you did a great job explaining it. The big thing I think here is great for artists that, they do merch, they do vinyl, they do t-shirts, that it allows these people to, say if you go and you resell their vinyl, it allows those artists to keep getting paid even when their vinyl is being resold. So yeah, I think it's a win-win for artists. And so John, so what do you think about it? Someone that is completely unfamiliar with it, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's kind of disastrous. And I say that with, like, understanding that I want to protect the artists, and I want to make sure that everybody is, getting the money that they deserve, right? I think that as long as the artist is under ownership of that NFT, it sounds like they'll continue to make money from it, right? Whatever that value is. So this comes into the question of, what is your contract state when you make this music. Because in the world of streaming, like I have multiple things that are coming to my mind, Edwin, while you giving that very good definition and breakdown of how NFT works and all that stuff. But one of the things I thought about was from a consumer perspective, how does NFTs work out for streaming platforms where we don't own anything? Everything is already licensed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what it would do is it would kill the streaming platform, the modern day streaming platform, where that's one of the industries that's been fucking artists. Like they're deciding how much they're paying artists per streams. The artists aren't deciding that. Whereas these smart contracts, you're deciding that. You're in the driver's seat, deciding what you're like how much money do you think your product is worth, and how much do you feel like other people are willing to pay for it. And that's just the beginning of it. That it literally from there, that's just the beginning of it. How much do you think your product is worth, and how much do you think people are willing to pay for it from there? Because especially when you're talking about a limited amount, like it's one thing, and I do believe that one day in this ecosystem, in this whole decentralized blockchain ecosystem, I do believe that there will be some sort of service, some sort of streaming service like Spotify through this ecosystem that sort of solves that issue of they want a streaming service, but a streaming service that's more in the hands of the artist, in the control of the artist. This is a way to do that. I think right now we're still in the beginning stages. We're still in the very foundational stages of what this looks like. I'm always somebody that tries to look 5-10 years ahead, and seeing what the future looks like. And this, I do think, is something that is going to be a huge and I think positive step, because I think it solves a lot of the issues of Spotify, the streaming services, tracking money, trusting these labels with paying you appropriately. I do think that this blockchain decentralized world, and also like NFTs, that creation of ways to track contracts and create contracts that is not based off of two parties and a team of lawyers, but rather deciding what that contract looks like and discussing a payout and then having that contract executed so that there's not one person that's overseeing it and fudging the numbers or doing whatever it is. I do think that although we're still at the very foundational building block, I do think 10 years from now it will solve a lot of the issues of Spotify and other streaming platforms. Was that what you were saying? Was that what you were getting at, John?
Kinda. It's like it'll kill Spotify for sure. It's basically is that question of like how much does it cost for a single person to stream a song once, right? Like what does the artist actually get? But within that, I feel like most artists, unless you're already on your path to being an independent artist and where you own all your music, actually have control over that NFT. If you still go through, say, like an Epic or Atlantic or whatever, they ultimately will still have ownership of the music. I'm just speculating. I don't know if this is fact, right? But the problem that I can see is, it's just like any other resale market, right? When you're talking about selling it to the next person after you use a record or a vinyl, the issue I see is it all starts off just like how Supreme or any of the other rare items are, where there's a limited amount and it's going to be sold to the general public at a certain amount, right? So there's going to be people who buy it, not for the sake of actually owning it and enjoying it and utilizing it for what it is, but just to say that they have this very, very rare item. And it's only going to inflate the cost of it. Yes, and theoretically, it means that the artist makes the money from that resale, right? Understandable. But I don't think that's a catch-all, because I could see NFTs being a situation where it's like, well, the artist makes the percentage. It's like, because like contractually, right? Like, why would you monitor that if you're not going to be making money for it yourself?
I'm getting a little lost, because can we go back to the whole inflating the supply and demand portion of it?
Yeah. So I could
ones there. So I would say that supply and demand wise, you're absolutely right. It will inflate the cost because there is a limited amount. I don't see how that would be bad. I'm having an issue understanding why that's a bad thing, because when you have it in the contract written that that when you resell something, even if something shoots up a piece of product because it's so exclusive, it's like, you sell it at 100, it's now worth 5,000 because 5 years later this album is an absolute classic. People want their hands on it. There's only a finite amount of this product, and it has shot up to a ridiculous amount, so it's worth $5,000. The whole point of a smart contract is, for sure, that's great that this art costs that much money and that you're selling it and making such a huge gain. Go ahead and sell it, because if you sell it in that smart contract, the resell, I have 25% of resells baked into that smart contract. So I will see whatever money that we've agreed on, because that smart contract is always executing, what is written into it. So if you resell a $5,000 piece after you bought it from the direct seller for $100, and you resell it because it went up 5,000, you sell 5,000 of that, I'm gonna see 1,500 of it or whatever, because or maybe it's a 50-50. You're writing the smart contract and you're allowing the smart contract to execute it for eternity. So whenever he sells it, you're making money. And I don't see it that differently from what Nipsey was doing. When Nipsey was selling, his albums for $100, he put a value on what his art was, and he said, this is worth $100. He's out there selling it. I feel like this is that concept, but on a much more elevated level, where you're making essentially like technology work for us in ways where it should be. It's like, why would we trust another human being handling this money when we can create a system where the system itself doesn't care about money, because the system is not going to walk away and buy a boat or a house. The system is just there to execute what you tell it to execute, and the execution of that is through smart contracts going to pay out whatever it is that you've agreed to pay out within that contract. So just now that I've said all that, is what you're saying still valid, or because I'm just
well, what I'm getting at is it's not about I'm never mad about the act of people making the percentage off of the sales of what is rightfully their creation. That's not what I'm getting at. What I am getting at is that I understand that the way humans are going to operate is that we're going to end up like someone's going to come in with a bot and buy like 100 of these albums when there's only 500 of them, resell them, and then nobody's ever going to be able to get access to this music, because you need to now have an exorbitant amount of money to be able to enjoy the music or even own it, right? Like a copy of a physical CD is $13, right? But if a digital copy of the CD is 99 cents or whatever it is now, right? It's like $13 or $20 for a whole album. Like a decent album is $20 to download onto your iTunes account where only you can listen to it, right? So if that album now only has 1,000 NFTs tracking for it, because remember, data tracking, just like Bitcoin and all that stuff, requires a ton of data management, right? So if you only have 1,000 of those albums, I can guarantee you, well, not guarantee you, but I feel like what's going to happen is but long story short, I think I'm concerned that classism will take effect, where music and owning, or just the act of enjoying the music and stretching it out and having people actually absorb it and enjoy it the way it's supposed to be enjoyed, will turn into a luxury, right? It's like owning a Picasso.
Yeah, I see what you mean now. Do you think? I think you think that almost like the way scalpers scalp tickets, like they're gonna hog up. They know that this is an industry that's hot. They're gonna rely on artists to only release like their best work or something like that through like these NFTs where there's only a limited amount of access to it. They're gonna scoop it up immediately, and then I totally see that. I'll say this, and I think that you're absolutely right. I don't think that should deter forging through this industry. Like everything, you have to start somewhere, and then you have to build on the things that you learn that's not working. I don't think you are 100% right. I don't think that's a reason to not do this type of work and to not look at how this could help the music industry. I do believe it can help. I do believe you're right, and that's one of the ways that I think it'll hurt the music industry. But there's always the pros and cons of certain things, and it's always good to balance those pros and cons. I do think that what you raise is a very good issue, and I really hope that they have a solution for that. I don't know what that solution is, but I really do hope that there's a solution baked in to avoid that exact issue that you just raised. But I would say that it's important to look into these mechanisms, because this is what's going to alleviate exploitation in music the way it's happening now and the way it's happening been happening since the dawn of the music industry. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it so far. And I've obviously, for Grindhouse, I've been looking at how we can, interact with something like that, and how we can adopt that into what we're trying to do here. So if we know more, we'll let y'all know.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see, artists like Estinac, El Divino sort of do something like this, because I mean,
They do that already, right?
exactly, they sell at a higher price, and this is what they say, like, we're selling like an art piece.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
a painting. And it'll just make it easier for them to do just that, and even make more money, because the valuation will be there. So
We had SD on the pod, and that's exactly what he said. He said that, and it's not like he releases everything like that, but some of his releases, he releases it on Bandcamp or where have you, and he'll say, I'm selling my shit for this price because his art is the what I like the value that I put into is what I believe, and that really is what value is at the end of the day. Is like, what do you think? Like, it's what people think it's worth, because a lot of this bullshit, like, I don't care about diamonds. For me, it's worthless. For other people, it's for them, it means so much. So it's like, it really is what you put into it. And for Esty, he was like talking about, like, yeah, this is art to me, so this is worth $100, so I'm charging $100. And sure, maybe 10 people will buy it, but at the end of the day, if 10 people buys it, that's $1,200. Like, how much am I making off of streams? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like this is a way to live in that realm, if that's how you feel, and not just make that initial $100 if you're SD Knack, off that record that you sold. You're always going to be making money, because you the resale on that, you're going to be able to track more without having to worry about hiring somebody to make sure your accountant to do that kind of tracking. Like, it is the smart, and the thing I'm excited about is, like, what happens 10 years from now, when this shit is so much more efficient and user friendly. Like, having an app where it is a music app where you can play these music that's created through these NFTs. And you can see, if you're an artist, you can pull up and see the amount of money you're making through the second, and you can immediately spend that money. Being able to immediately spend money that you've made off a resale that happened, 5 seconds ago. Now I have $125 in my account because somebody, resold a thing I did, and now I have $125. I can pull that out right now and pay for it. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited about all of that encompasses blockchain technology, and what that's going to do, to affect varying different industries, but especially the industry that we work in.
definitely.
I just feel like it's going to kill a lot too, though. I mean, Ed, I totally respect the 10-year vision thing, and I do want the artist to have that kind of flexibility, But I think the flexibility that the artist gains, and it sucks because, like, I don't want to take from the artist either. I want them to get all the fruits, the fruits of their labor. But from like a music, just enthusiast, like outside of the industry kind of thing, like one of the things while you're talking, I thought about was, do you guys remember an episode of Fuck That's Delicious where they were following Big Body Best through a block party?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I remember that.
Colombian.
Yeah. It's like Colombian or Puerto Rican or Dominican, one of those, right? Like one of those block parties.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was walking through the block, and what stood out to me, he was like, he's very real, like, he's big body, right? And he just goes, they might not cop the, they'll cop the bootleg, but they'll still go to your shows and show you love. You know what I mean? Just because it's like some real hood ass shit where it's like, like, music has been distributed in mixtapes. It's been distributed through like other forms of, distribution. Because you think about like NFTs, I hope it doesn't get to a point where, like, a producer or like a beat maker puts an NFT on their beat, and then, like, you can't even use it on a mixtape no more, because now you don't have like mixtape Wheezy times anymore, right? Because it ends up costing like $18 a stream to listen to that song.
You're right, but what I would say to that is, you're forgetting about the whole industry that you have to, the amount of work you have to do to even get to that point where your NFT is even worth something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
like, so obviously, I've worked at a label, and accounting is like so archaic, and it requires a lot of people. You got to pay those people. Like I envision like something like this being, hopefully accounting for music or just accounting in general will be a lot more automated. So it's like you don't have to pay a team of accounting people, and like a lot of this money can go back into the artists instead of like a label that has 300 employees. It's yeah, I don't know. I would love to just see like these things, just like the artists can see their money rather than like getting a paper statement every month or whatever. So I don't know. I just think blockchain could do that, could alleviate a lot of those like archaic systems.
Here's a question for you guys. If you guys are just, like, if there's a million things I'm sure you could fix on the music industry, right? But I don't know anything about music. If you had to choose one thing to fix about the music industry, what would it be?
I feel like I just kind of stated within that.
I would, I think money and transparency,
People get exploited too much in music, way too much. It's the most obvious issue in music. It's like, for me, it's some no-brainers. It's
like everybody else is getting paid but the artist, it's
think
like
about it, bro. Like every new act that comes and gets signed by a major label and that gets signed to like a deal, do you think they're signing a favorable deal? Do you think they're signing a favorable deal? No, they're signing a deal that's usually very friendly towards the label itself because they're the gatekeepers for the shit. I think what this creates is, and especially lately, because the last 10 years especially, we've been realizing more that you don't need essentially what a label tends to offer. And you could do a lot of things yourself, like building a presence online doesn't require a label. It just requires you to work and build a presence online and interact with fans, and then drop a project when the interaction has hit a peak where you have a following and you develop a cult following and you're putting up music consistently and you're putting up videos. And even videos nowadays, you only need a Sony A7S. You don't need that, the budget that they needed back in the day with the Hype Williams video in the 90s. Like, you can make things yourself, and it's becoming, the music industry is becoming very DIY in many different aspects, and a lot of these smaller guys are staying independent. Even a lot of bigger acts are going back to independent. Like Joyner signed his deal and then he went back to being independent. You're seeing that a lot. I think same thing with a few different artists that they signed to a major, and when their album was done, Busta released his album. That was an independent release from Busta. So clearly they're seeing and they're realizing they don't need a label to be able to do what they're doing, make money doing it. I think something like what we're talking about with the NFT and blockchain technology, what that does is it reinforces that power structure so that independent musician can still make money because they don't have to be worried about being exploited by anybody, and they'll know that money's coming in if business is being made. Because that contract is executed as such, because the contract, that node, that computer, that code doesn't have any feelings towards any of this shit. It's not trying to take a little bit to pay for that girl that they're banging on the side or whatever. It's literally just, computer like circuitry doing its work and making money for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it takes a lot of that trust. It creates a level of trust between businessmen that hopefully, and for the independent artists, it means you're getting more money because you're able to track it in a way that doesn't require you to have an accountant and all this other a team of people and so on and so forth. I think it's another way to ensure that the artist is getting paid. I fuck with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you are seeing like labels. They sort of like they're changing their structure, like how they do things. I mean, like Busta Rhymes, he did like an independent thing, but he put it through Empire. So Empire basically, they're a label, but they're more like geared towards like artist services. So like essentially what you're signing up for is like, all right, well, I want this, this, and this, and it's gonna cost this. And like you're basically making your own deal. Because it's like you could be Busta Rhymes and being like, all right, well, I need marketing services, so I'm gonna use their service for marketing and distribution, and so instead of like signing a deal at Columbia or wherever it is, you're basically just choosing your services, and doing it that way, and obviously being independent and whatnot. So, and you get to choose when you put out a record, or when it comes out. So I think you'll see a lot of like more labels that look more like just distribution artist services.
Right. Which I think is dope. I mean, I'm not totally against NFT. I was just bringing up stuff that came to mind because
No, John hates it.
Nah, you hate it.
Yeah.
Yo,
I don't want the artist to get paid. You know what I mean?
Same energy,
sign that 720. All right. We spin the block twice.
Don't listen to John.
Now the cool thing I could see about NFTs, right? If you were to take away what I was getting at, which is like the classism and my fear of like people not having access to the music that ultimately makes the culture. One cool thing though is that it could create like this situation where like y'all ever had that moment in life where like a car rolls by bumping some song you've never fucking heard of before? And this is like pre like having that app where you could like just like have it play it and they'll tell you what the song is and shit like that. Like I can't wait for that to come back, because nowadays it's like, I don't know about y'all, but like I find new music via like my suggestions on Spotify or whatever, through you guys, through like just my network, right? Or like even YouTube to some extent. But it'd be dope to the point where like everything gets so clustered where like I could see hip hop getting to a point where like like if you really fuck with Jay-Z, like you definitely have heard, or like you and your friends have all kicked in a certain amount of money to go do a listening party where you guys had an hour to listen to the Black album. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be pretty tight. It's like going to the movie theater, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be sick.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think the possibilities are endless, and who knows? Maybe they can kind of. I mean, like you were saying, like pretty much like buying up all the the coin or whatever, or the NFT. It's like hopefully they can figure out a way that people can't do that. It's one per person kind of thing. So hopefully that could be solved, because I could definitely see that being a problem.
For all we know, it could already be solved. We don't know that. I don't know that level of the system to tell you that exists already. I only know the very basic, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Definitely. All right. Cool. Well, let's move on. We'll stay within the finance sort of news here. So Jay-Z invests in Perch Credit. It's an app aimed at helping minorities boost credit scores. So Jay-Z's doing it again, something positive. So I think that's really dope.
Jay-Z and Nas, it's so cool to see that the rivalry, which I believe still exists to a certain degree, because like anytime Nas drops something, Jay-Z is right behind him dropping shit on the same day. So I don't know why, but that clearly the rivalry is still there. I love the rivalry now that has transcended music and is also now in the like the investor like field, because both Nas and Jay-Z are excellent investors. Nas has invested in, I mean, his most famous investment probably by this point is Lyft, but I think he's invested in other things. He's got his hands in a lot of different things, and Jay-Z does too, man. I think this credit app is a dope idea.
I think it's like a positive flex. You're positively flexing on the other person, so it's a good thing.
This is what happens when you create billionaires out of the generation that didn't have nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this is why this is important for the people to get one of their own to be a venture capitalist, to be somebody who can make these type of moves and have this type of power, because they're going to create an app not just to make them money, but to help the people get out of the situation that they know about. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck with it, man. I'm glad that Jay-Z is doing this.
Yeah, I think that's great. I feel like you could even go back to like back in 2008, people like struggled, they got themselves into a bad situation. So things like that can really help people and create a better life for themselves. So
Yeah, credit literacy is something that has been the hindrance of like minorities for some time, right? Like not all of us really understand like how a credit score works, how to even build credit, how to manage our finances. I'm pretty what's the word? I guess like emotionally attached to this type of subject because my sister is actually like a financial counselor, and like she works with a big range of different types of people, and like I hear her stories all the time about like this the stuff that happens, at least within the military world and whatever, right? And one of the things that we always talked about was like you talk about credit, you talk about what do you even do with money, right? Because like I don't know about your parents, but my parents always just told us, yo, just save all your money as much as you can. They never talked to you about like, investment. They never talked to, what I mean? Like the only like their types of investment would be like, yo, go start like a business, go, what I mean? Like go work basically more than it is to like move your money around and like really like, gain yourself up to the levels. Cause like most of upper percentages of corporate America, like their money is working for them while they're not doing shit with that money, but you need to have money to make money. That's kind of like where that phrase I think comes from. So it's like, I think it's huge. Like we definitely need more people like Jay-Z that, can step up and actually like start putting money in places that actually uplifts the community. I think he's been doing that for some time, right? He started in music, did that whole thing with pushing on people to try to be more, I guess, like independent, right? And like kind of learning the industry there. And then he started going all these other ways. And, I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of like a continuation of like, I could have seen, if Nipsey was still alive, I bet he would be doing something similar. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? Like it's part of that same cloth. And, I'm really proud to see them doing that.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. Enriching the community. Yeah, so hopefully, I'm not sure if the app is launched yet or whatnot, but you know, you know, I look forward to seeing it. All right, so let's move on. Let's get to the album reviews. We got two albums that we're gonna talk about. We have Jim Jones, The Fraud Department. So I skipped around this album. So I would say for me, one thing I did notice though is our boy Big Body Bess is on this record. So that made me a big smile on my face. He's on Luxury Lies. Great song. But best song for me is definitely The People featuring Conway the Machine. Dope album. But
Word. I gotta admit, I haven't listened to it, so I'm gonna shamefully bow out of this conversation, and I'm gonna rely on John and your take to
Yeah.
get me hyped for listening to it after this.
cool.
All right, I'm gonna just put it out there, and y'all probably already know this. I love like that whole Dipset New York, just gritty ass, sell drugs, stack it to the ceiling, spend half, wearing white Air Forces and chewing on a toothpick on the corner type lifestyle music.
So very New York.
This whole album. I've listened to it a handful of times, and I can't say it's like something where like lyrically, I'm not gonna like pull away like certain bars from it where I could quote from the top of my head. I don't think this is that kind of album. There's a lot of good Instagram fucking captions to be had with it though. But like this whole album to me, it's like I was very proud of Jim Jones because like we think about him as a rapper, he really grew a lot. I think he kind of started taking it actually very seriously. I think he's grown a lot as a man too. So his topics have changed. You mentioned the Big Body Bess album, like a part of that song. One of my favorites out of it was the Say a Prayer song, featuring one of my favorites, Currency, and a gentleman named Jay Worthy is on there as well. I haven't heard Currency's voice in a long ass time. Currency is like, just a fucking legend. You know what I mean? But this album and just like, if you haven't listened to it yet, I would advise you to if you really love that gritty New York kind of shit. But the takeaway from it, that high level, is that I feel like this is one of the first albums that really actually starts to talk about the impact of this pandemic, and everything that we've been going through with, like, the presidential election, the pandemic itself, just like the hardships of the things that, like, we're finally going to start seeing, like, somebody has to be a voice in these streets. And, like, surprisingly, Jim Jones, an album called The Fraud Department, is, in my opinion, it's one of the first ones. And, like, I listened to it and I was like, damn, dude, like, this is some shit where I'm like, this is the first step of where hip hop, like, we're going to be hearing albums about the pandemic and, like, people really digging themselves out of, like, because, like, the pandemic right now, as we know it, if you wasn't going to do shit, you don't really have time. You don't have the excuse no more if you don't have the time to, right? I felt like this album just really touched on a lot of shit where you're just like, damn, like, this is about, like, the grind and, kind of pulling yourself out and all the hardships you got to deal with. And it was a powerful album to me, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, he touched on, politics, race. So, I mean, it's the year to do it, and Jim Jones did it. So, and he did it independently, as well. So,
oh, and all the stuff about, like, the ongoing like police brutality and all those types of topics in there. I mean, it was an interesting way of getting about it to that topic.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's jump into Judas the Black Messiah soundtrack. I've been listening to it a ton, pretty much every day. I've been running through that whole album. I would say, like, I like majority of that record. There's some bangers on there. I love the song "I Declare War" by Nardo Wick. There's also a Nipsey Hussle Jay-Z song, "What It Feels Like." Dope song, like, yeah. And also just finding other artists as well. I think there's someone that goes by White Dave. Here's the kicker: he is not white. But yeah, super dope. So, what do you guys think?
I really love. I guess my favorite song. I have that album, by the way. Hit Boy is the executive producer of that album. That album was a stellar album. One of my favorite. I would say it's my favorite soundtrack to come out in. I think is one of my top three favorite soundtracks of all time, possibly. Honestly, like, there was a lot of music. Is what over an hour of music.
Yeah.
All the music are good. I think what they did with this that makes it amazing is there's a lot of, like, the younger artists, not like the young, like, Lil Pump artists like that, but like young artists who are very, very talented on this album that you might not have heard of. Like, you talk about Nardo Wick, something like somebody like that. Then you have other artists that are older but still, like, like Sir is on the album. His song "Teach Me" is one of my favorites on there. There's Her on the album. G Herbo's on the album. Then you have your bigger, Jay-Z, Nipsey on the album. There's just, like, a lot of Nas is on the album. There's just a lot of really, really good songs from artists, high on that, notoriety scale, to artists that you're just starting to to know. But all the songs are phenomenal. Back to, front to back, it's phenomenal. I'm like you. I've listened to that album a bunch. It's replay value is very high, and it really captures just the empowerment, the Black empowerment of Judas and the Black Messiah, the film, and just the Black Panther movement. And it does it through hip hop music. It's a very, very well done album.
And it's one of those albums you listen to front to back as well. It's not like you just, like, throw on the certain songs. It's like, I just throw the whole album on. So
amazing soundtrack.
I could definitely see it winning something this year.
Yeah, soundtrack of the year for sure. I absolutely see it. I would be disappointed. I love the Black Panther soundtrack, but I like this one more. I like
Same.
Yeah, this album definitely, I think, more grittier than Black Panther album, right? But yeah, like, I listened to it, and again, like, nothing really like I could choose as an exact, like, favorite. Like, that What It Feels Like song. I listened to it before I even heard this album.
Mhm.
I was actually very surprised that the Lil Durk song was on here.
Yeah.
not because I'm not a fan of Dirk, but like I think one of the earlier episodes of Sidebars we talked about Lil Durk's album, and I think like from that moment on I actually like became like a Dirk fan. So I think I was in the car when they came on. I was like, oh shit, Dirk's on here? What the fuck?
Yeah, like Giorbo is on there too. Like, yeah, it's a bunch of people on there. So
Yeah, The Voice was a really good album. I really, really like that album. And when I heard that song on the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack, I was like, yeah, this is probably gonna be John's favorite because this is a really, really dark song.
Yeah. I like how you guys started. Like, you guys always know like what I like and stuff like that. So like, I was like, damn, this is a really good mix of things. And yeah, it's like I said, there's no particular order I listen to it. I actually personally just threw it on shuffle when I started seeing that there's a whole bunch of different artists and different songs on there. So I didn't listen to it necessarily front to back. I just wanted to hear like, well, what was the general content that they were going with. And I don't know if I'm using the phrase boom bapish correctly, but there was a couple of songs in there that I was like, okay, this is some real like, it's kind of like eating like you know, pate or foie gras or something, you know, like this is not easy hip hop. This is like you know what I mean? Like, you know, just like, casually walk into this album and like sit down and, you know, drink some coffee to it. This is like a, you know, you really gotta, you know, be, you know, mentally in that space to get ready for it. It's a good one.
Word. Yeah. Definitely check out that album. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all we got, guys.
Cool. So yeah, if you guys dig what we do, if you guys fuck with us, make sure you're liking our videos, you're commenting on them as well. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Feel free to talk shit. Feel free to tell us that we're doing good or whatever you want to say to us. Feel free to say it, and we interact with you also. So if you guys have anything to say, just ask us in the comment section, and when we see it, we'll respond. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit that bell button also that you see whenever we drop a video. We definitely have more content coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled, and thank you.
Peace.
Yep.
Peace.
Yep.